Florida, New York Islanders, 5-6 on the rotation. We've got the New York Islanders minus 165, home favorite in this game. The total 6.5. Again, we're not seeing any bargains right now, none whatsoever, with this Islanders team from a totals perspective. That being said, I have won no part of the under after cashing an over with Florida, Washington before the break. And with all due respect, he's given it his all, but Harry Satteri's not ready for prime time. Okay, this guy's given up, 14 goals on 80-some shots in 6 starts or this year. That's terrible. That's horrendous. I mean, he's just been horrific, awful, whatever you want to call it, in between the pipes for Florida. And really, this is a tough situation for the guy. I'm sure, he's not looking at himself as getting starts in the NHL a few weeks ago. Now, Luongo's hurt. Reimer's hurt. Reimer's just putting on IR, by the way, so it looks like his is going to be a long-term thing. He's not been square to the shooter half the time. His post-to-post, side-to-side movement is terrible. He looks like a snail trying to get across the crease on a lot of situations. Harry Satteri, not good at all whatsoever. The Islanders, believe it or not, the overtrain's come to a slow down a little bit. It's grinded to a halt just a bit, and the reason is now odds makers have finally caught up. I mean, 6.5. You even saw a 7 for crying out loud in the game against Vegas when that game opened the other night. So, I was looking to make a case for the over here. I think first period over might be a better bet, maybe. We saw Washington jump out. I really take the play to Florida before the break. Harry Satteri, again, I don't trust this guy in net whatsoever. Maybe some early goals here from the Islanders. I'd probably prefer first period over than full game over. Again, 6.5. A little bit more tougher now to get over with the New York Islanders. But, again, that's the only way I'd bet it. I'm scared of any unders right now with this Florida team that's given up 3 goals or more in, 9 straight games. Horrendous defensively, a goalie I don't trust. Perfect recipe for an over, but it's just a question of value. If 6.5 is enough value in your mind, in your own individual mind, to go over the total. Let's go to Andrew. He's involved in the Panthers-Islanders tonight. Andrew, what are you looking at here in this game?
Yeah, guys, looking at this card today, I see a lot of massive favorites, and I was looking at a couple games, and this one really stuck out to me as a puck line favorite. I like the Islanders right now, looking to build off a win against the Golden Knights before the break. Held a very offensive team to just 1 goal, and to me, that's huge. I know the Vegas hasn't been the most consistent team about keeping their goal scoring high, but they've started to kind of settle in a little bit. But I think it's still huge. The Islanders held them to just 1 goal before the break, and this is the only meeting between these two teams right now this season. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing when you're kind of playing a team that you only play once, and you kind of want to get that solid win against them right now. And right now, I think the Panthers have been struggling defensively. Their goaltending's always been shaky throughout this entire season. They've been giving up an average of 4 goals in their last 6 games. So to me, against this flying Islanders team that's just so fast and they know how to score the puck, like I said, they've been slowing down the unders, but they still know how to score, and they're a scary team to play against this team right now. And just looking at a couple stats right now, overall in the season, they're averaging 3.44 goals per game, where Florida's just averaging 2.81. Head-to-head, last 3 games, New York averaging 3.67 goals. Meanwhile, Florida just averaging 2.67 goals versus each other. So for me, I think this is a complete mismatch. And it's like Ian mentioned, the overs are trending massively right after an All-Star break. The over has hit almost more than 75% or gains for both teams on the first game back from an All-Star in the past couple of years. So looking at this and the predictions everyone's seeing, I just think this is going to be a goal affair. And when it's a goal fest, I think that this works in favor of nobody else but the Islanders. So if we can see some solid goaltending out of the Islanders, I think it's not even a close contest. I won't even hesitate to take this Islanders puck line. There's great value in it, and I think it's a good bet against this kind of sloppy Florida Panthers team. Again, it's hard for us to stress it too much to you guys, but the stats sometimes don't lie, and it works such in favor if you look at these stats and think about the trends, because it's true. Coming off this All-Star break, there are going to be some mishaps. There's going to be some sloppiness. There could be some All-Star goaltending as well. We saw some good All-Star goaltending at the All-Star game. We were talking about that pre-show here, but I expect a little bit more of high-scoring games today. And this is one of those games that I see fit to meet that kind of algorithm. And I think it should be maybe a 4-1 type game here for the Islanders in pure dominance. So Islanders puck line for my first pick on the day.
Yeah, I mean, I've got lots of ideas dangling in my mind for this game. I'm looking at maybe Islanders puck line. I like that a lot. I like Islanders team total over a lot with Sateri in net. Who's been hurt. He's been awful. I mean, this guy can't play in the NHL. I mean, it's really that bad, I think, with him. I mean, I've seen it now for a few games with him. He's awful. Unfortunately, they got no other choice, though, as I mentioned. And the New York Islanders, they did actually finally get some good goaltending their last game before the break against Vegas. I mean, it was a great performance in net that night from Jaro Halak. 38 saves on 39 shots was terrific. Islanders actually dug in at the defensive end for a change. So it's a question of can Florida score in this game? It depends on what Islander team shows up. It finally showed some defense in that game, or is it the Islander team that, for the most part of the first half of the season, one of the worst defensive teams in the NHL, one of the worst penalty kills in the NHL? Which one do we see? But I'm confident the Islanders get theirs. So, yeah, puck line makes sense. Islander team total over makes sense. And from a game total perspective, I'd probably lean more to a first period over in this game than I would the full game over, 6.5. We have seen the Islanders actually, believe it or not, 2 straight unders. They haven't done that in a long, long time, but they have in their last 2 games. Dana Lane also involved with the Panthers and Islanders matchup tonight coming out of the break. Dana, what are you looking at here in Brooklyn?
Yeah, you were right about Halak the other night. I'm telling you, not only was Halak fired up, but the team was fired up to come in here and get a victory against the Golden Knights. They looked pretty impressive, especially defensively, which is not something you can say much about their team very many times. Like you said, there hasn't been too many times where they've had back-to-back unders, but they were pretty impressive at least for one night. I will say this for the Florida side at least, or let me talk about the trend real quick too. I mean, you guys have brought up the over trend, and of course that is an impressive number to the over, but they weren't trying to get over 6.5s. Most of the time, you're still trying to get over 5.5s, and so this is a little bit different story in this. This is a Panther team that is 12 points out of first place. So both of these teams are desperately in need of a win. So what do? You always go back to defense when you're in desperation mode. But defense, for me, has never been that big of an issue for Florida. It's always been their offense, and when I talk about offense, of course, we know about the Barkov line that is fantastic, but I don't see a lot of secondary scoring with this Panther team. You look at Connor Brickley, who was a Golden Knight for a second. This is a guy that he's in his first full year. He's got a ton to prove offensively, and then you have McCann and Verbata. McCann was a fantastic player for Sault Ste. Marie, but certainly has not equated that yet to the NHL level. Still needs some seasoning, and Verbata's bounced around a little bit, is pretty much an average player. So I mean, outside of those first 2 lines for the Panthers, you really don't have a lot of scoring. But what you do have, what I do like in this game, and one reason why I like the under is I feel like you have a real one of the things that I kind of put together is I know it's kind of difficult in hockey, but I take the time of possession. And do I think that Florida can hold time of possession? Yeah, and I do in this one, and that's good because the Islanders' strength is obviously offensively, but you get a guy like Alexander Barkov that not only is a great face-off guy, and I think could probably get the better of whoever he goes up against, whether it's Tavares or whomever, who is also a great face-off guy. But what's good about Barkov is he's fantastic in his defensive end as well on the dot. So I think Florida can hold the time of possession statistic. They're not very good offensively, but I like them defensively. And if the same Islanders team showed up against the Knights that show up tonight, I don't have any problem going under the total. I think this is a good recipe for an under tonight.
All right, under the total. We're talking about a team that's given up 3 or more in 8 straight. Wow. But all right, under 6.5. Here we go. Florida and Islanders. It is it's a high number. There's no doubt. And we've seen the Islanders go under in 2 straight games. So we'll see if they can make it 3 in a row tonight.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.